Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. As a Romanian saying goes, there is no smoke without fire. So in this case there's the Russians coming out and making some statements indicating that Ukraine might use a provocation and use a dirty bomb, so-called. Now, see, I have this article from Sputnik and it's from today, the 23rd of October 2022. And let's see what exactly the Russians are saying. This article, as I said, comes from Sputnik from today, and this is the title: Kiev preparing quote-unquote nuclear incident provocation against Russia, sources say. Russian President Vladimir Putin has repeatedly warned that there can be no winner in a nuclear war and that it should never be unleashed. But he also said that if the existence of his nation is threatened, he's going to use all military power at his disposal. The Kiev regime is preparing a provocation related to the detonation of the so-called dirty bomb in Ukraine. Unnamed credible sources in various countries, including Ukraine, have said. Now, what's a dirty bomb? A dirty bomb, also known as a radiological dispersal device, or RDD, so radiological dispersal device, or RDD, combines a conventional explosive with radioactive material. So conventional explosive with radioactive material. Such a bomb typically uses dynamite or other explosives to scatter radioactive or other explosives to scatter radioactive dust or smoke, I'm just lazy, or smoke, so as to cause radioactive contamination. Jesus Christ, Anyway, the source argued that the purpose of the provocation is to accuse Moscow of using weapons of mass destruction amid the ongoing Russian special military operation in Ukraine, and launched a global anti-Russian campaign aimed at undermining confidence in Moscow. I think they're doing a great job, the Americans and everybody else. So, according to the insiders, the administration of the Eastern Mining and Processing Plant located in the town of Zoltye Vody in Ukraine, the Dnipropetrovsk region, as well as the Kiev Institute for Nuclear Research, was tasked with making the quote-unquote dirty bomb, a process that the sources said is being overseen by Kiev's Western curators. Oh my. The insiders added that the organizers of the provocation hope that it successfully implemented the quote-unquote nuclear incident will prompt an extremely negative reaction from the international community. As a result, Moscow will lose the support of many of its key partners, while the West will again try to raise the issue of depriving Russia of the status of a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council and ramp up its anti-Russian rhetoric, according to the sources. The claims come after the Russian Foreign Ministry underscored the last week that Moscow does not threaten anyone with nuclear weapons, and that it is Western powers who use nuclear rhetoric trying to make it look like Russia is preparing to deliver strikes using weapons of mass destruction. This followed Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov earlier this month urging the global community to take note of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's recent call for a preemptive nuclear strike on Russia. And I'm quoting, Peskov told Sputnik that Zelensky's statements about preemptive nuclear strikes against Russia should not be ignored by the international community, since those remarks are nothing but a call to start World War III, which would entail catastrophic consequences. No winners in a nuclear war. Russian President Vladimir Putin had repeatedly said that there could be no winners in a nuclear war, noting that Moscow consistently followed their letter and spirit of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, NPT. Scenarios under which Russia could theoretically use nuclear weapons, scabies, fleas actually, are set out in the Russian military doctrine and in the fundamentals of state policy in the field of nuclear deterrence. According to documents, such a scenario is possible in the event of aggression against Russia or its allies with the use of weapons of mass destruction, or aggression with the use of conventional weapons when the existence of the state itself is threatened. Well, one thing is what you say and the other thing is what you do. That's always is valid for all of us. In this case, the Russians, I haven't heard them using the terms, or we're going to use nuclear weapons. The most extreme. When I talk about Russia, I'm not talking about some I don't know, MPs or something like that. Or Kadyrov, who said, well, use the Chechen guy, who he's a major general or something, so he's not really just a guy who said that, well, maybe tactical nuclear weapons should be used in Ukraine, blah blah blah. I'm not talking about that, because he has no power and authority over the nuclear weapons. It's Putin and generals and maybe the Security Council of Russia. Those are the ones who make decisions, not a Duma leader or whatever elected official in a Novgorod Oblast or something, or Kadyrov. So, as you would say, oh well, what's going on here? The Russians are threatening. What they said is, again, Putin said, that's the most aggressive statements made by Russia itself as a official foreign policy regarding the use of nuclear weapons. If our country, our existence is threatened, or if they attack us with conventional, I didn't go that deep with the conventional whatever, we will use any military means at our disposal to defend ourselves. And that would include, obviously, that. He never mentioned we're going to use nuclear weapons, we're going to fuck you up or anything like that. Nah. That's all he said. He said, I'm not bluffing. That means that's serious. I'm going to use anything needed. And you guys obviously know, oh, everything means that included. That was his threat, and everybody else, my God. And then you go about Zelensky, who's the president of Ukraine still, and I'm not going to go into that then necessary. He said that specifically that he used these words, that the West maybe should use preemptive nuclear strikes against Russia, blah, 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 blah. So he used that. Putin never said, well, maybe you should use nuclear strikes against Ukraine. He never used that at all. He used, oh, we should. I told you. So it's a difference. But you see, the mass media, as I always say, try to focus and attack a certain kind of population strata, or and then they will try to influence their opinion. So when you meet someone and you talk to them, they say, well, Putin threatened to blow up our country, or he threatens use of nuclear weapons. You deal with these people who just take what the mass media gives them, and you know how the mass media provides information, at least in this case. Regarding a dirty bomb, yeah, Zelensky was yelling all around that hydroelectric dam, the water dam, is all mined by the Russians, and they're going to do it today. That was about yesterday, the day before, and so on. They're going to do it right now. They're ready to do it. They're right there. Well, the same thing. And how do I know it's not you? You can say it's the Russians. I say it's the French. All right. So. And he can tell me whatever he wants. I don't believe shit anyway coming from those guys and from those guys until I verify it somehow. But these guys keep saying. It's like getting you ready for something. He said that they're going to use biological weapons, or they're going to use nuclear weapons. No, you can say shit like this for some time, but then you say, come on, beat it. Just get, not credible. Including the fact that he is involved in that, and that's his job to create false hopes for his fighters and get going and die for a war that was instigated by others and fell on Ukraine to conducted. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.